We've just spent the last few nights on anchor on the South Brittany coast, and today we are doing something that this coast is famous for. We are heading up a river. We've got a little bit of a motor to get there, and then we've got to go through a lock, but we're looking forward to checking out the Villaine.
If you saw last week's video, you'll know we've been cutting it a bit fine between the bottom of our keel and the sea floor.
It's going shallow again.
Yeah.
Right, it's very shallow.
Well, this week we decided to kick it up a gear, heading over another sandbank before motoring 25 miles up a river, where unfortunately our luck runs out.
I wanted to happen when it was me helming. I wanted Stu to be the one who went aground.
Hi, we're Stu and Laura. We swapped our lives on land for adventures aboard our 36-foot sailboat Delfino. After an amazing summer learning the ropes in the stunning Scottish Highlands, we've now left the UK and are sailing south. Subscribe and join us for a journey full of discovery, learning and delicious food along the way.
So we've woken up after our second night at anchor in this beautiful bay that Laura tells me is called Anse di Sischino. Some Italian sounding name? I don't know. There's an amazing chateau that we can see and the sun's just peeking through the clouds. It's amazing how relaxed and calm it can be when you wake up in places like this. The sea is flat. You've got the sound of waves gently lapping in the background. And this amazing sandy beach with a beautiful chateau. I mean, it doesn't really get much better than this. I'm kind of sad that we're having to leave. Yeah, it's been great. It's made me super excited for anchoring in the Rías in Spain later this year. And I'm really looking forward to just hanging out a bunch more and getting used to life in these beautiful, amazing places. It's so serene, it's so peaceful when you wake up in a place like this. I mean, how could you not love it?
I've been a bit nervous about anchoring on this coast because we're so exposed to the Atlantic, and I think the first night kind of reinforced those worries for me because it was so rolly.
Yeah.
But tonight has been, or last night was so chill and lovely that I'm like, oh, it is possible to anchor on this coast and have a nice relaxing evening.
Yeah, it was great. If anything, I wish that we had another couple of days here.
Yeah, but we need to head up the Villaine today, so we're going to get moving for our final day of kind of motoring around in this little bay.
Yeah.
Oh, that huge daddy long nose is still here.
It's massive, isn't it?
Right, it's time for you to go as well, my friend, if you'll even fit in here.
Ooh.
There will be no more bugs in the spray here, please.
It does seem to accumulate the bugs, doesn't it?
We are doing something today that I am equally excited and nervous about. We are going to go through a lock and head up a river to a cute little medieval town. We're currently cruising the south coast of Brittany, which is famous for its rivers that you can sail up. But although we've moored in some rivers, we haven't really been all the way up one yet. So today is going to be our chance. We're actually going to be up the river for the next couple of weeks. We're going to leave the boat there for a little while we go off on a slightly different adventure. And we needed to leave it somewhere super sheltered. So we thought, what better place than through a lock up a river? There'll be no weather getting to it there.
Cool. Okay, so there's this big bar at the entrance to the Villaine. So where it gets pretty shallow, we should have enough water, but it does get as shallow as like 0.5 meters.
Okay.
And we're going to need to make sure that we've got people at the helm constantly.
Yeah.
And so that's going to take us about 2 hours, and probably once we're in the lock, I mean, we've done locks before, like in Chichester.
It's first lock since Chichester, though.
It is, yeah.
Oh my god, look how busy this lock can get. I assumed this was a marina, but it's not. This is the lock with like 4 boats crammed into it.
Well,
4 boats across the width of the lock.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
That's very busy. Hopefully it won't be like that.
So we're going through the lock at what the website says is one of the optimum lock openings today. So fingers crossed it's not too turbulent and that we can manage it with the 2 of us.
Yeah.
Okay. It also says, where is it? The lockkeeper manages the potential chaos with great charm and skill.
Yeah. I'm kind of excited for a lock, to be honest.
Cool. All right.
Sweet. One thing you've really got to watch out for here are these. The fishermen, they use these nets that are suspended between 2 flags. If you go between those 2 flags, they'll catch in your propeller, and bad times. It'll be bad times. Let's put it that way. And there's so many of them. They're everywhere. So We really got to keep an eye out. Well, we've decided there's enough wind to sail. So we're going to put the sails up. Right, up we go.
Yeah.
Just prepping the furling line for you.
Chilly of wind today.
Yeah. So one of the things I've been trying to do a lot better is learn how to trim the sails. And I'll just tell you a little bit about how I do that. You might find it interesting. So what I'm looking at are what they're called telltales. They're little bits of ribbon or string that are tied to the sail. What it does is it gives you an indication of how the air is flowing over the sail. The sails are giant aerofoils, so you want nice consistent flow over both the front and the back, from the front of the sail all the way to the back. So what I'm looking for is those little strings to be flying horizontally and relatively uniform.
Very nice to be this close hauled and have basically flat water to be doing it in. And the wind is dying a little bit, which is actually kind of good for us today because otherwise we'll get there way too quickly. We've got 3.8 miles left to go, we're doing 5.6.
We might do, but we could always just drop some of the sails and like motor slowly up the river the last bit.
Yeah, we'll just go really slowly.
Yeah, exactly. It's better to arrive too early than too late.
Okay.
Except for the
Unless you get stuck on the
shallow
sandbank.
sandbank, yeah. But I mean, no, we can always just tack back and forth.
Yeah.
Tack our way up.
Okay, if we start tacking, I definitely need to stow things downstairs. I've just put everything on the low side for the moment.
Fair enough. It's pretty nice sailing though.
Yeah.
In these kind of days when the sea is extremely calm, but the wind's forward of the beam, it's so comfortable and cozy downstairs, even though we're on the move. And it's one of the things that I really love about sailing. We're moving, we're being propelled by the wind, we're going somewhere, and yet we've got this amazing home downstairs for me to come and make a bit of food in. Seems like it might get pretty busy in this lock. We can see 4 or 5 other boats already, and they're all heading into Villaine. Busy locks that are turbulent with loads of water flowing through them can be pretty exciting, so we'll see how this goes. Absolutely lovely. I mentioned that sandbar earlier, but it's always a bit freaky when you're coming into a river like this and you're just watching the depth get smaller and smaller. But I think we've done all of our tide calculations correct, and we figured out how much tide we have under the boat right now. So there's so many other boats coming in too. Yeah, ready? Oh, it's getting shallow, 4 meters. But I think I'm pretty confident that we've done our calculations correctly.
Yeah, and the fact that there's so many other boats coming in now implies that we've timed this quite well.
It says charted depth of 2 meters, and we should have 2 meters under the keel of tide, which is 4 meters total. That's what we see. So
yeah,
I think we're good. So to explain a bit more why we're a little bit nervous, our keel is 1.9 meters deep, and the charted depth here is 0.4, 0.5 meters. So we're really relying on the depth of the tide above that charted depth to give us enough water to get in here. We're currently showing 3.7. 3.3! Still got the shallowest part to go, which is all this bit right here. We're just entering what the chart says is the shallowest bit, and we're still seeing 3.1 meters of water. It should be enough. I'm excited. Oh, 3 meters. So we kind of, I think we'll be fine. Once we're into the river itself, there's a lot more depth. We've been hovering around 3 meters for a little while now, 3.2. I think we're through the worst of it. We're approaching the green buoy, which is the starboard channel marker. It's where we turn the corner into the river itself, and that's where we start to get a lot more depth. So once we're past that, we should be in the clear. All right, we're through. It's showing 4 meters, and we turned the corner, went to the river, and waypoint arrival. But yeah, now it's just a question of moseying on up. We did our calculations correctly, which is great. It's starting to learn these tides.
The rivers around here are really famous for oysters, and we are going past some really, really big oyster beds at the moment.
It smells like cows. It smells very strongly of cows. Delphi is going to be filthy. Filthy girl. Look at this.
That's horrible.
That looks so gross.
No swimming in here.
This is the Arzal lock. It was built in the 1970s to regulate water levels and prevent flooding along the Villaine. This lock and the attached hydroelectric power plant make it possible to take deep draft sailboats so far up the river here. The dam ensures that the water depth never drops below 2 metres, or so they say. The lock is huge and can accommodate 10 to 15 sailboats at a time, which is good for reducing the wait times as it only opens every other hour during the day. But given some of the warnings in our guidebook about turbulent waters and the fact that we'd never been in a lock with this many boats, we were a bit nervous going in.
Okay, so she said to go between the two things. I can't believe that we're already 6. It looks like we might be 8 boats in this lock. Fair enough. I mean, I guess it only opens a few times a day, so.
Oh, that was fun.
That was fun.
Well, aside from being very busy, that was thankfully really anticlimactic. We barely moved in the lock at all. The door open, there was no turbulence, and we were the first ones to motor out. So yeah, very chill. And particularly enjoyed the French family having a nice lunch on the boat next to us as they waited for the lock to open. Shoot cute ducks?
I'm shooting a cute duck.
Oh, piss off. Those ducks. Well, this is cute.
Very cute. Didn't realise we had such an audience for that docking procedure.
Good thing you didn't hit the dock at the front. Oh, wait.
Well, nobody could have seen that.
Good thing I didn't fall off the dock into the river.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, that would have been bad.
These like little loopy things are my absolute nemesis. Normally there's a cleat on the end of the pontoon that you can just tie off to. These loop things, you've got to fully like get down on your knees on the end of a little pontoon that's wobbling around because you've just jumped on it and try and like thread something through. Yeah. And I really don't enjoy doing that.
You looked very uncertain. But you made it fast quickly, which is good.
Yeah, we got there.
Nice. So we've arrived at the super cute town of La Roche-Bernard. It's this beautiful little town that's sort of nestled in the rolling hills and the rivers. Beautifully green, really nice. I'm gonna go grab some croissants, baked goods from the boulangerie, and show you guys around town a little bit. Marina itself is here, kind of on the banks of the river. The river continues down that way. And the town kind of starts here. You sort of go past this rock and left, and there's the old port down there. One thing that you always have to do when you come to a new port is check in with in France here, it's the Capitanery. You know, just let them know how long you're staying and what berth you're in. The visitors' pontoons are like a first come, first serve kind of deal. We're lucky that we got one here. It's pretty busy, it's pretty popular. And it's now kind of the end of May. We really get the sense that the season's starting. We're starting to see way more British flagged boats than we have done, as I think people come and they do part of May, June, July, maybe part of August, and then fly back. But yeah, lucky to get it. One thing about the Capitanery here in La Roche-Bernard is it's really far from the visitor pontoons. You got to come all the way through this old port. So that's the Capitanery over there. Most of the town itself is up the hill. Once you're up the hill, the town starts properly. It's kind of filled with all of these little winding alleyways and advertises artisanal quarter. Lots of little restaurants, bars. It's very cute. It's early morning. Many of these like French towns we've noticed, particularly where people I think have come to retire. Very quiet early in the mornings, not many people. I feel very French now. One of the things that I think is worth explaining about how embedded boulangeries and the bakery culture is here, really. I mean, for one, you have to bake your bread on premise to be called a boulangerie. You know, you can't just sell baked goods from elsewhere and sort of call yourself one of them. And it's so embedded in French culture that you go and you buy your fresh bread, your fresh croissants first thing in the morning. And yeah, I know some people apparently even go twice a day, right? They'll go in the morning and then they'll go in the afternoon to get bread for the evening. And you can tell that the bread, it does go stale quite quickly, and they've got a variety of recipes to sort of save it, you know, but it does taste so amazingly good when it's that fresh. It's totally free of preservatives. It's been baked that morning with love and with care. I think it's got to be one of the world's most impressive logistical networks. getting the French their bread.
We had such a good few days in La Roche-Bernard, wandering around the quaint town streets, exploring and enjoying our first drinks in the sun of the year. But we had a plane to catch, so we had to get moving.
We've had a lovely couple of days in La Roche-Bernard, but now we are heading up the river to Redon. A couple of hours of motoring through a pretty narrow river, which gets very, very shallow as we get into Redon, so fingers crossed this all goes okay. So we know we've got more than enough room to go underneath this, and it's significantly taller than any of the other moss in the area. But it still looks dicey as you approach it.
Still freaky.
Yeah, no, this one doesn't look that bad.
No.
Yeah.
Those are the ruins of the old bridge.
How do you feel about your day of motoring?
It's gonna be very chill. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be very relaxed. Beautiful scenery. You're gonna do a bit of editing. I'm gonna sit here and probably read.
Right, see you at lunchtime then.
Rolling hills, beautiful chateaus, green meadows. It's really, really beautiful.
To get to Redon, we had to pass through the Cran Swing Bridge, which was built in 1893. It opens at set times each day if a boat needs to get through, but you do need to ask on the VHF in French to confirm that you're going to go through. We didn't film this exchange after our problems last week, but we successfully managed to request that the bridge opened and we were on our way.
Today's sailing snack, more crisps, and we're going to try the yakitori flavour today, which we haven't had before. And I can't say I have high hopes for, but we'll see how this goes.
The black packaging is pretty unappetizing. It's quite like an intimidating colour for food to be.
Right, here you
Oh, I'm trying it first, am I?
go. Yeah.
Yakitori is some kind of meat skewer on the...
Spiced chicken it should be.
Not bad. It's got less flavour than some of the others.
Oh really?
Yeah. I think it's pretty good. Bit of chili, bit of chicken flavour. It's like chili chicken. It's
Okay.
good.
It doesn't taste like chicken really, but it has got a lot of like sweet lemongrass, chili.
Yeah, bit of lime. I like it. It's good.
How would you rank them in and among the other brat flavours?
I think they're up there. Some of my favourites.
They're better than chorizo and peppers. Not as good as tartiflette and not as good as pesto mozzarella.
Yeah, I think the pesto mozzarella is my favourite.
Yeah.
We really enjoyed our trip up the Villaine. It was a nice change of pace after being exposed to the Atlantic for quite a while, and despite navigating the lock and the swing bridge, it was surprisingly relaxing. But our final challenge was still to come. We'd been worried about the depth in the approach to the marina in Redon. We told the marina our depth and they'd confirmed that we'd be fine, there should be more than enough water for us. But in reality, this wasn't quite the case.
They say there are two types of sailors, those that have run aground and those that will. And today we transitioned from those that will to those that have. Just coming into Redon, there was a pretty narrow, shallow patch just as we came into the entrance of the marina, and the depth gauge was reading 1.6 metres and we are 1.8 metres deep. And it felt like we were ploughing our way through the mud a little bit. We didn't come to like a hard stop or anything, we just sort of came to like a slow, gradual stop as I took us off the revs because I was freaking out about the depth, and now there's a load of mud floating around in the water, so yeah, definitely seems like we ploughed through silt a little bit. But fingers crossed there's no damage done to the bottom of the boat. See that? That looks like mud that we have just kicked up from the bottom.
It was always going to happen eventually. It seems like it's pretty soft now.
Yeah.
It's alright, she's built like a tank. And it was all scuffed up on the bottom anyway, so it's pretty fucked up down there. Somebody else has run aground. Clearly.
Potentially here.
It could literally be here. It seemed like very soft mud with some stones in it. So, anyway, we'll be fine.
I'm sorry, Delphi.
Sorry, buddy. We didn't jolt. There was no sudden stop of any kind.
And like when we did come to a stop, it was partly because I was like, oh my god, it's 1.6, come off the revs.
Yeah.
Which maybe was not what I should have done. But...
No, I think that was fine. Like, what does it matter, you know? Alright, I'm gonna go to the Capitane.
Okay.
Thanks for watching. Next time we're doing something a little bit different. We're swapping boat life for van life in the US's Wild West.